I'm taking donuts off my do not eat list. You know what, I was in Bed and Bath a few weeks ago and I found this baking pan for donuts and I thought, oh, baked donuts, I don't know, you know. But you know, it was only $9.95. I have my 20% coupon. I got it for $8 and I tried it and you know what? They're good. I mean, they're really good. No grease, no butter. So I'm here to share the recipe. All right, so first thing you do is preheat the oven to 400 degrees. Mine's been on for a while. The next thing is you grease the pan. Now, even though it's a non-stick pan, it's still a good idea to grease it because it can still stick. So I use, you know, I don't like the spray thing, so I don't like the smell and the ingredients. So I just use my own. I have a mix of butter and canola oil that I always have at home. So I just use that. It's always soft. And so I'll grease the pan with that. It doesn't take long, but when you grease, you also grease, get a little bit more, the tops too, because sometimes you'll get batter on the top. You'll see in just a second. So, and this is real food, so if it sticks to the donuts, it's fine. So that's all greased and ready. All right, now we're gonna go to the dry ingredients. Now we're starting with a half a cup of all-purpose flour. You don't even need a big bowl, it all goes into a small bowl. 2 tablespoons of sugar, very little sugar, half teaspoon of baking powder, a quarter teaspoon of baking soda, and just a pinch of salt. So just like a little pinch of salt. And a pinch of nutmeg, but I'm talking about really just a pinch because let me show you how little. Because that's not very much flour in there. That's about it right there. You don't want nutmeg donuts, you want just that hint. And there's something about nutmeg that gives donuts a donut-y taste. So that's the dry ingredients. You kind of stir it up a little bit, combine them. And now we're going to do the liquid ingredients. And in here I have a quarter cup of low-fat buttermilk. To that I'm going to add 1 egg. Sorry about the mess. I'll add a tablespoon of canola oil. I use canola oil because it's flavorless and heart healthy, so it's perfect for baking. You can see there's no butter here. Also 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. I like this brand. Okay, 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. Don't measure over the cup, don't do what I'm doing. Okay, so that's it. You stir that together, and I have a pretty good way to do it that's kind of quick and fun. I have a small whisk. I just put it in there, and I go like that. And you can do this with a fork or whatever, just kind of mix it up a little bit. Stir that all together. And now you put the liquid into the dry, and that's the whole donut recipe right there. Don't overmix. With most baking, I always say don't overmix. And you just use this. I use these little tiny spatulas a lot because it's easy to do small recipes like this. So that's the batter. That's what it's going to look like. It's kind of thick and lumpy, but that's good. So now we'll put it in the muffin pan, or the the donut pan, and you just kind of drop it in. It'll kind of smooth out on its own, but you drop it in evenly between the 6 cups. But that's pretty good right there. Now before they go in, it's a good idea to wipe off those donut hole things like that, so you get a nice clean donut. Okay, that's it. Get a towel here. So now they go into that 400-degree oven that's been preheated for 10 to 12 minutes. It's usually about 10 minutes for me. So in they go. And we set the timer for 10 minutes and go past 15. And there's my little timer. Now, while the donuts are baking, because they bake pretty quickly, we're going to make the glaze. And again, very simple recipe. We're going to start with powdered sugar, and it's 1 cup of powdered sugar. And I don't have a cup to measure it with, but wait, here's one. Okay, 1 cup of powdered sugar, just roughly measured, like that. You may be familiar with glaze, you know, you do it on cinnamon rolls and all kinds of stuff. A quarter teaspoon of vanilla, and I put the vanilla on first before I add any milk, because just the slightest amount of liquid, don't measure over the bowl, I'm going to measure over this. The slightest amount of liquid will change the consistency, so I always add the vanilla first. There's the vanilla. And then it's like 1 to 2 tablespoons of milk. I use 1% milk, doesn't matter what kind. But you really have to add it slowly. The first tablespoon is pretty safe to add. So there's 1 tablespoon. I'll show you how quickly this dissolves that sugar. Now that's 1 tablespoon. It doesn't look like it's going to do much, and all of a sudden it starts to come together. This is pretty much a standard vanilla glaze, but the thickness is up to you. But, okay, now you can see it's actually still coming together. Now I'm going to only add like a half of a tablespoon. The most it ever takes is 2. But boy, it really happens quickly, as you'll see. There. That's it. Now that's a nice glaze right there. And it's up to you what thickness you want. This is kind of like, I don't know, like maple syrup maybe, like honey or maple syrup. And if you want it a little bit thinner, you add just like a touch of milk, but not even 1/8 of a teaspoon more. But I think that's actually, yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. So now the glaze is ready, and we're waiting for the donuts. As soon as they come out, we'll glaze them, and we'll have healthy glazed donuts. Okay, well the cow says the donuts are done, so let's get them out of the oven. Let's see here. Okay. It looks like they're done. Now, we're going to put them, you know what? Let me place the rack for, you're going to put them on a rack, but you have to put wax paper underneath. So you need some wax paper because this is going to be messy, but fun, and a rack. And now we're going to put the donuts on the rack. Now see, here's how they come out. Now, they're going to be brown on the bottom, but see, they still will stick a little bit, so that's why you have to grease that pan. Okay, look at this. They're light on the top and brown on the bottom, and they're donuts. How cool is that? This one is a little lopsided. I guess I should have probably, pushed the batter around a little bit, but that's okay. It's still a donut. Okay, that's 2. Now, you see I'm placing them pretty side up because that's not as pretty and not as smooth, but the top is always going to be rough like that, and the bottom will always be smooth. So I think it looks prettier with the bottom facing up like that. So that's it. Here's your 6 donuts. And now they're going to get glazed. And that's a little bit messy too, but this is really fun. If you have kids, they would probably really enjoy glazing the donuts. And remember, there's no butter in this recipe at all. There's no grease, a little bit of healthy canola oil, and my trusty glazing gloves. Okay, so I don't know, I kind of, there's probably different ways to do it, but here's how I glaze the donuts, okay? You take it while it's warm. You can try putting it in that way first, and then this way first, and then to get the sides, you kind of roll around, and then kind of let it drip off a little bit, and then place it on a rack for sure, because all that stuff's gonna drip off. And they're not gonna be this white. You'll see when they cool down a little bit, it'll just be kind of like a shiny glaze. This one I'll try like doing the edges first. Whatever it takes to get all sides into the glaze. That kind of went easier, didn't it? Oops. There, you can drop it in twice if you want. Okay. So see how, look at the difference. I just did this one. Oh, that's the, whoops. But see how whiter that is? It's going to turn like that. It'll be less glazed and just a really nice sheen. And if you want even less, if it's too sweet or too much, you just add a little bit more milk to the glaze and it'll thin it out and it won't be as sweet and it won't be as shiny. And the last one. This is just enough glaze. And you can also, put cinnamon sugar on these. You can put them in a plastic bag and shake them around with some icing sugar, with confectioner sugar too. So, but to me, the glazed is really, really the best. So That's it. That makes 6 healthy glazed donuts, no butter, no grease, no frying. And the thing is that they're best served warm. Well, as if that wasn't going to happen. Oh. I need a glass of milk.